Justice Doherty, for President Judge Gammon, President Judge Ferber, esteemed colleagues on the bench, county officials, friends, and family. I'm extremely mindful that I have quite a lot of people to thank for this day, and I hope that you will bear with me as I attempt to do so. I was having this discussion yesterday with Judge Furman after she gave her remarks, and we spend a lot of time in court, but we usually don't have all of our friends and family facing us at the time. Thank you, Justice Doherty, for administering the oath of office. Your leadership, particularly in the family court in Philadelphia, and your tireless devotion to ensure access to our court system by all citizens has been awesome. You will bring your integrity, your wisdom, and your innate ability to make everybody that you meet feel important to our Supreme Court, and we look forward to your long service. On a personal note, I appreciate the fellowship that you have shown towards my family along this journey of mine. Thank you, Judge Burke, for stepping in for Lynn today. You and I have both had the distinction of having served as chairs of the Montgomery Bar and the Pennsylvania Bar family law sections prior to our election to the bench. And given your retirement at the end of 2013 and the order of seniority that myself and the other two judges selected, I truly feel as though I'm stepping into your seat. And in so many ways, including my great admiration for you, that is some pretty good karma to be having right at the start. It's unfortunate that due to her recovery from recent hip surgery that Lynn was unable to be here today. We have worked together for 29 and a half years, and although we did not always agree on everything, we always maintained mutual respect and affection for each other. She is probably the hardest working person that I have ever seen, bar none. She encouraged me to be an effective advocate and to push myself both professionally and personally. On that last note, 23 years ago, after a few years of trying to sort out just what I was all about, she came into my office, sat down in front of my desk, and in only a way that Lynn could, said, "So, when do we get to meet Jonathan?" And at that point, I knew that everything was going to be okay. And by the way, I know everyone thinks that Lynn is really tough, but there's absolutely no way she would have got through reading the commission and also those personal remarks. That's just a side for that I have seen over these long years. Thank you, President Pugh, for your remarks today. I tend to think that things happen for a reason in life, and had I been successful in 2011, I would never have been able to devote my efforts in 2014 to the judicial interview project or to the legislative initiative that will, when it passes the Senate later this year, provide the most substantive change to our family court system in 30 years. On the family side, thank you to Matt and Kiera, my niece, for helping us out today. It's a joy for Jonathan, my sister Karen, and I to watch the two of you as you grow up and achieve your goals. Of course, to Matt, the most important thing going on this week isn't today. It's on Friday when he goes for his driving lesson. Fair warning to fellow drivers. I'm also grateful to my sister Karen for her lifetime support, and that my cousins could be here from Connecticut, Jen and Frank Clifford and Kevin Keating of Norristown County, and especially my cousin Bill Clendenin, who's currently serving as the president of the Connecticut State Bar Association. I know that relatives in Massachusetts and Connecticut and Florida and Alabama are all able to share this opportunity and this ceremony through the magic of video. In many ways, my late parents were my heroes. My father, who along with his three brothers and sister, grew up in a very tough time period during the Depression, and without the benefit of a college education, succeeded in business to the point where he retired as the vice president at Harley-Davidson. My mother, who lived with a handicap but never let it stop her, she passed away on November 3, 2014. she was there with me on November 3rd, 2015. In 2009, during the worst legal recession in decades and the surprising collapse of Wolf Block, where Lynn and I had our practice group for 13 years, my law firm, Gallagher, under the leadership of Paul Fire, Joe Goldberg, and P.J. Stapleton, all present today, came to our rescue, keeping our office in Norristown and hiring all 12 of us, even our file. I will never forget that. And their patient support of me, along with my fellow partners Lynn, Carol Morali, and Chris Vidali, all these years as I've pursued this position. And we very much look forward to Friday when Carol will be installed as the 86th president of our Bar Association. So, changing parties is not such an easy thing to do. Mostly, only those already in office are able to manage it to any great success. But Chairman Marcel Brown and Commissioners Josh Shapiro and Valerie Cush put out a huge welcome mat for me, along with pathonetary Mark Beebe and Springfield activist Michelle Lockman, who were enormously supportive. They all encouraged me, they supported me, and ultimately enabled me to fulfill this dream following a time period during which I was not certain that I could or would be able to run for judge again. Marcel called me this morning to say he was sorry he could not be here today due to an emergency meeting in Harrisburg in his new role as state party chair. But if he were here, he would probably tell you that he told me many years ago to switch over to his side. And he was right. And it would probably be a little regretful if he wasn't here to hear that. I'm very mindful of the historical significance of my election last November. On my way to the county swearing-in ceremony on Monday morning, I got a call from a friend who told me that his son, who was in high school, came out to his family on New Year's Day because he wanted to start the new year out being honest about who he was. I just could not believe the irony of that moment, and I started to choke up as I listened. His entire family is completely supportive, but I could not help but think about how courageous that was for this young man to take that brave step at such a young age, even today. Those that know me know that I've never been a parade marcher or a flag waver. I've always believed that acceptance is accomplished one step at a time, one person at a time, one group at a time. And that's exactly what Jonathan and I have been doing for the past 23 years with every group and every aspect of our lives. We started going to Bar Association events way back then in 1993. We were the only gay couple, and it was not easy. It was well before Will and Grace and Ellen. And truthfully, I have to give Jonathan full credit for this. Jonathan was really the true trailblazer because he refused to be left in the shadows. If I was going to a bar dinner dance or attending a conference, he was not going to sit behind in the hotel room. In the Bar Association, we found acceptance, support, and friendship. The bar enabled me to serve in leadership positions for the past 16 years, under 16 presidents. That may not seem like such a big deal, but remember, for many of those years, things were much, much different than they are today. The bar offered me the opportunity to serve in ways that weren't really possible in the political arena. Having been involved, extremely active in politics in high school and college, to those who knew me back then, it wasn't a question of if I was going to run for office, it was just when. But graduating from law school in 1984, that just wasn't going to happen for me. There were no role models in entertainment or in sports, and certainly not in politics, except maybe far away in San Francisco. As the years went by, the people I was active with in politics in high school and college went on to be elected to the state house, to the U.S. House, to the U.S. Senate, to the governor of another state, and yes, one of them even finished second for the Republican presidential nomination in 2012. And and is yet again, believe it or not, running against the president this year. But all during those years, I was relegated to the political sidelines. And then, in 2007, I saw a glimmer of hope. My friend Dan Anders, who's here with us today, was elected to the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas. And I thought, maybe, just maybe, Montgomery County could not be far behind. When I first started running for judge in 2008, there were those who told me that I would never get endorsed. Many of these were friends trying to spare me the agony of disappointment. In those early years, I would joke that I was out, but my supporters were in the plaza. But as time went on, I knew that I had a lot of support, and it was just going to take some time for things to catch up. Ultimately, and this may not be the most politically correct thing for me to say, but the fact that I was endorsed by both political parties, albeit in different cycles, is something I fought hard for and I'm extremely proud of. And then came July 2013. Whether you agreed with him or not, when our Registrar of Wills, D. Bruce Haynes, began issuing marriage licenses, it was what I like to call our Lexington in Concord. It was the shot heard around the world because it put the issue of marriage equality right out there in the town square. Suddenly, everyone was talking about it, and they didn't have a problem with it. It succeeded in shifting public opinion in a way that all the lawsuits that had been filed could not. And so, in October 2014, because of the political courage of Bruce Haynes, with the full support of Commissioner Shapiro, Jonathan and I were married with Matt standing by our side as our best man, after what Jonathan likes to call 22 years of courtship. Maybe some other relationships should start out that way. It was a long test drive. When I started this journey with Jonathan, way back then, I never thought we would have a child. I never thought we would ever be married. And I sure, as you know what, never thought that I would ever be elected to public office. What a remarkable journey we have both had, supporting each other, including Jonathan attaining his dream of becoming a certified nurse anesthetist. And of course, there are the camps that does keep everyone in suspense from event to event. But they are no doubt going to liven things up at the judicial conferences. And so being the first LGBT candidate elected to a county office in the entire state of Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, is something I intend to wear proudly. There were those who preceded me in local office in our county. Many of them are here today. Lori Schreiber in Abington, Bill Caldwell and Mary D'Souza in Norristown, Mark Arden in Bridgeport, John DePietro in East Norristown. I stand on your shoulders today, and I know that others will be encouraged to now follow us. I also acknowledge the wonderful support that I received from the LGBT community last year, some of whom are here with us today. Malcolm Latham of Equality Forum, Mark Siegel of PGN, Tony Campisi from Liberty City, Ted Martin from Equality PA, and Representative Brian Sims. Lastly, thank you to Michael Case and Carol Dillon and all of court administration who have made the transition from private practice seamless for both me and my longtime secretary, Linda Cavalier, who I'm grateful to have join me on this new adventure. President Judge Ferber and my good friend and new boss, Judge Wall, you probably have not heard this very often, but I am delighted that my first divisional assignment is in family court. As I have said probably 1,000 times, and the folks to my right have heard that, our family court is the most accessible division of our courthouse. It is where real people, your friends and your neighbors, come for solutions to their very real problems. It's where I know that I can contribute the most right now. And I have to say, say, coming into the building every day this week, I have felt like a little kid on Christmas morning. I can't wait to get started. As I look around this courtroom, I see on the faces of the people that are here today that I have many friends from all aspects of my life: the bar, the LGBT community, Republicans and Democrats. Please know there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that the support from all of you over all of these years and the strength of these relationships has sustained me all of these many years of campaigning, and most importantly, when I needed it most, on election day. To my new colleagues, including our senior judges, 27 in all, over the past 29 years, I have appeared before each and every one of you, save one, in every courtroom in this courthouse. For the past 17 years, I've had a beautiful, dead-on view of the main entrance of this building from my law office in 3 different office buildings across the street. It has been that view every day, and all of your service to our community that has inspired me to seek this position, and I only hope to measure up to all of your examples. Thank you.